I'm Layu. Welcome to Den Kungalige Anarchy, the one-layer nation that employ all the resident of the earth.
Welcome to DKLA Pirate Radio. I'm your Leia, and today's episode is all about Deinfluencing you, a deep dive into navigating online life, internet security, and breaking free from digital noise. Joining us is Roberto Capodieci, an Italian tech innovator who has been immersed in IT since his youth. With a decade of expertise in blockchain technology and decentralized systems, Roberto shares his unique journey from Italy to Bali and his insights on how we can protect ourselves in the digital world. Let's get started. Today we are with Roberto Capodieci. Please introduce yourself.
Sure thing. And first of all, thank you for having me in your show. It's an honor to be here. I hope we're going to have a very pleasant conversation. My name is Roberto. I was born in Italy. I spent a decade in the United States. Now it's 20 years I'm in Southeast Asia. I work in IT. It's my passion. It's not only my job. Technology is something that always fascinated me since I was a little kid. So I'm blessed to do something that I love as a job.
I'm glad to hear that. And where can our listeners connect with you online?
If people is interested in discussing technology, I think LinkedIn is the best platform to find me. linkedin.com/in/rc10.
Okay, that's great. And let's dive into the conversation about influencing you. You are more from the, let's say, backstage side of the computer. It's not like influencing people in social media.
I have a few podcasts that I host. I do have a little bit of a strong reputation in the specific area of technology I am. So I speak at conferences and I'm always asking opinion on mostly decentralization, peer-to-peer networks, but those are very technical terms. I don't want to bother people with them. But in the evolution of the information technology, it's like we've been in industrial era, now in the information era. So we are entering a very important phase of communication and way to deal with things online. And I am into this specific topic, so I help company to shift into the new realm of way of doing things. If you want to put it simple, that's how I do.
I must say, I'm always been interested in computers, not only in phone. I'm 35 years old, and when I was 17, I started watching TV, and it was a novelty to me. People who lived from internet. I was fascinated by the idea. And then I told I was watching and my father was with me. And I told my dad, oh, I love this idea. And he looked at me, you are crazy. Please put your feet on the ground. So here I am.
See, in the past, people would never have thought that electronics and computer would have such a strong roles in our lives nowadays. So I've been lucky in my life. I know I look very young, but I'm 50 years old the next month. So I was there at the arbor at the beginning of each stage of computing. And in fact, I appreciate and love your artistic aspects. So all the painting, illustration you do, I check them online. Very nice and very beautiful. And coding computer is now very different than painting something because the creativity that the developer has when writes down the code is not different. Then there is also those that do technical drawing, like in an
Mhm.
architecture firm. They're very following precise rules. There are developers that do things in the same way, but the real developer, the one that only is creative at 3 in the morning because his brain produce better results when nobody's around, is very, very similar to an artist. Actually, it is an artist, and the code are
Yeah.
sometimes art pieces. If you look them with the eyes, it's a little bit of a matrix kind of thing, no? Enter the strange world of number and letters.
Oh, well, I'm a graphic designer nowadays, and I remember I started with digital art with my first computer. Well, I didn't have the tools we have now. I remember I had my first contact with Photoshop
Hmm.
around 15 years ago, and
Okay.
I love it to create new stuff there. Nowadays, I'm trying to make some animations. I really make some adventures in animation, but it's really cool. I really enjoy digital art.
See, in the fact of this evolution, as I was saying, in the past, everything was analog. If you think music was in a tape or in a vinyl disc, movies were in a VHS tape, it was magnetic. So things were analog. As much as a painting was on paper, you cannot create digital art, right? Now everything became digital. And if you think that, now how we're communicating in this moment, how you're going to publish this podcast is all digital, these are
Mhm.
numbers. And the biggest difference is that copy of analog item like a song will deteriorate for each copy, while the digital
Yeah.
remain perfectly like the original. And the biggest issue is that if I have, let's say I'm an artist like you, and I do digital art, and at a certain point, I have this piece of digital art. Anybody can copy and paste it, and you lose the validity of having one piece, right? This is why, if you think about NFTs or crypto, which is the technology underneath, is called blockchain,
Mhm.
has this beautiful miracle. You can create a singularity, unicity in digital items. In fact, I cannot copy and paste my Bitcoin and give it to you. It will be worth zero, right? So in the
Mhm.
moment that I give it to you, I don't have it anymore. So in the case of a piece of digital art, you can have an actual owner. You can actually sell it. You can see who belongs to. And this is a huge revolution. The people doesn't have understood yet the value that it has, because on practical term, I can have the title of ownership of my house or my car into this system, which allow me to sell it, to transfer to somebody else. But for creators, you can value your work that is digital, thanks to this technology that allow to say, okay, this is the item. Others are copies, so they are not worth anything. So if you want to buy, I transfer you the digital ownership of the item, which is something that is fantastic, I think. So big step ahead in what we're gonna do online.
I completely agree with you. The ownership is a problem for us content creators. I remember when I started making digital art, it's my second career. I first studied law and I was supposed to be a lawyer. I was really worried about taking ownership of things, copyrights, and uh, I first saw the Creative Commons system. It's a quick solution, but nowadays the blockchain technology, I think it's even more safe.
Is a different approach. One is a rule book, one is a legal aspect. I claim is mine. No, show me legally that is yours. The other is a practical aspect. Is mine. I can practically show that is mine. Is a number, is a record that is accessible from everybody. So yeah, there are these two borders, these two aspects. One is the rule book, the legal mechanics that determine ownership, etc., etc. The other one is the technical and practical aspect, which is much faster, because if I'm selling something, I can determine that is mine in a second, as I'm able to transfer the ownership later. If it's proven by rule book, then it can be
Mhm.
faked, it can be tampered, right? So it is a different approach. So this is exactly and actually we don't depend from somebody else. I can transfer directly to somebody else without having to ask a lawyer to validate, a notary to validate the transfer, etc. So this is pretty neat.
Absolutely. Well, the influencing, I don't know if you have already heard this word, but it's the opposite of influencing. We have the so-called Instagram influencers, people who sell products basically on social media, not only on Instagram. We also
TikTok.
have other networks. But the influencing is this encouraging people to be consumerist and to think in deeper aspects than just buying stuff and showing they can sell their lifestyle or they have a great life. And this is what we are going to talk. I wrote a blog entry. The name of my blog is Rice Mishap Cake Delight. It has nothing to do with food. But I discuss many things, and it has its name because I like the kitchen space. It has a very affective memory. I remember when I was a child, a teenager, we had many parties at home, family parties, and they started and ended in the kitchen.
Very Italian, anyway.
Oh yeah, I have Italian descendants, but I am an Italian descendant, but it's very far from me. But my idea was discussing ideas and thinking about this space because it was really funny to say things about life and everything else in the kitchen, and I created this blog.
Interesting. It is, in fact, an important space. I think that going down to the bone, to the essential of human life, eating, sleeping are the two core aspects, right? So there are places that help represent what we really need. If you think, and which is crazy as well, I think a lot of people posting pictures on TikTok that are all sexy. They do it in the toilet, maybe because there is a mirror where they appreciate themselves. Maybe the most best settings that they have. Sometimes behind there is the most disgusting stuff, but because that also is a place that represents privacy, represent an essential aspect of life. So we are all connected to the, what is important to us, and the idea to show off what we have is that is a stronger need of confirmation that we tend to have, like mostly insecure people tend to, to compensate their insecurity, sometimes going to other extremes. Is an interesting aspect. We're gonna see because it's a new thing. None of these people became 60 years old yet. None of them are president of a country or so I want to see what the future, shapes out of this. There are beautiful. There is a series on Netflix called Black Mirror, and there is this episode where your life, what house you can rent, and everything is based on the likes you have in your social media. So more you are appreciated and liked, the more your score is high, more you can do things in life. Very much something that we are going to, like people tend to evaluate others based on these sure things of new generation. Some person of like later age like me still do these things. Probably the brain didn't grow to a maturity above it, but yeah.
Oh, and there is something more technical about the AI influencers. I don't know if you have heard about it. They are robots. They don't exist, but many people believe there are pretty girls. They are just
absolutely.
AI generated.
That this is interesting, and it also show what people really is interested in. I think there are cultures that are insane. There are factories that make these rubber dolls that people bring at home. They human like. Some people go to the extent to bring them around the city, like if they are an actual person. That having the interested in following something that is built behind by the team, give the superficiality of just looking at the surface of things. and not looking just a little bit below. I have to say around this thing that when the internet first started, so we're talking about 30 plus years ago, when first people start chatting, there were so many girls, which, because it was a world of guys, and those were guys that were pretending to be a girl just to trigger favor from other guys, right? So they needed some codes, they needed something, so they just looking with a female name, ask the favor, and all the other guy would jump in trying to. It is interesting because it goes down to some people that probably think in their life their only option is that one. So if I think I will never be able to appreciate a real, I mean, to be appreciated by and appreciate and live with a real woman, probably the virtual one cannot let me down, right? And this is a form of guarantee not to be traumatized by something, which is sad in a way, but I guess probably is the refuge. There was this beautiful movie. It was a little bit of a chick flick, but it's technical, called Her, where there is this guy that installed the new operating system in the computer, and this operating system has this artificial intelligence with this female voice. So they enter a relationship. So they go out for dinner, use his cell phone, and then he discovered this artificial intelligence was having an affair with a few thousand other people because being a super right? And it is beautiful because what ChatGPT, which is one artificial intelligence company, actually product from OpenAI, that is the company, just released, is this voice that is very condescending, flirtish, and is really trapping because we react by some triggers that, like it or not, even as much as intelligent you can be, as much as rational you can be, some triggers are those triggers, and being exposed to something that push those buttons, like it or not, it makes people go like, ooh, like there is a very funny comedy piece. There is this ChatGPT with his voice flirting with these guys at the end, asking their social security number, and there is you're being manipulated by a computer, like how can you not realize that he's a machine that is trying to. It is dangerous in a way because
Yeah,
humans are very gullible. So let's see where this thing goes.
I think so. In a certain time, it's dangerous because if you start believing more in what you can touch, what you just see, and don't believe in the real, it tends to isolation. I think we start getting more isolated.
Absolutely. There are also a lot of positive aspects with this technology. If you think about it, think about education, where as of today, one class has 30, 40 kids, the teacher is one, and need to go along the average with artificial intelligence. Each kid can have is a customized teacher, tutors that goes exactly the correct speed of the kids, customizing lessons. So there is going to be a lot of interesting revolution when those things are going to be applied, but we need to learn how to use them in a way that is safe. So they are a mean, they are not an end. All those fantastic tools is something we need to use for reaching a final goal. It's not something that we need to fall inside, because that's dangerous.
Oh yeah, I myself started using many AI tools to help me. Many people say AI is a threat, is dangerous to some people to create a text. And no, I like to use as a to correct my texts, to help me setting and schedule. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's better than trying to making a copy of me and being 2, 3 copies of me.
Yes, speed up our productivity. Things that I was
Definitely.
take me a week to do, I can do in an afternoon now, thanks to ChatGPT. For sure, kudos to the technology. But yeah, there are the plus and the minus. I guess so many people will divorce to marry an artificial intelligent companion. Beautiful, perfect. And now robotics are coming in as well, quite heavy this year and next year. We're gonna have even helper at home, the robotics, they work with artificial intelligence, so they're more natural in their behavior. It is something for sure interesting, and I'm curious to see where it's gonna go.
Okay, let's talk about your multi international life. You live in Bali and conduct your business from Singapore.
Correct.
How have these locations influenced your work and innovation in tech?
All right. So, but first of all, I'm born and grew up in Venice, Italy. I spent time in Florida, then I'm in Bali because I think if people bother to travel to these places because they're so nice and they leave from their house, or they take an airplane, they travel. Why not living there directly, right? So that's where I choose to live because life is pleasant and everything is nice. And then there are business places like Singapore, London, Dubai now, incredibly, that are very powerful to go there just for business reason. Probably not as pleasant as these others to live. Surely something that living here in Bali left me very particularly left thinking is the talents that we know. So a very good software developer, for example, a very good, very intelligent mathematician, cryptologist, scientists are people that are born with a gift in their head, so a brain that works in a very special way, but had the opportunity also to develop this skill thanks to the situation where they were. Here is interesting because being a country that is still developing, education is not yet a high level, and the average level is quite no, it's not very, but there are exceptions, right? And sometimes I look in the rice field, I see these people working with their leg in the mud, and I see how many Einstein are there wasted, right? How many Einstein are there that had no opportunity to take out, and it is something that made me think. But nonetheless, in 20 years that I'm here, I did so much trying to give opportunities to this country, to the people to start their own business, to learn, to have the possibility to apply and learn. And has been a fantastic thing. So on one side, there is the opportunity to do new technology, disrupting technology, as I've been working, which is my business, and another working with people that are very fascinating under this aspect. So you find really some geniuses that is really a find, like it's really a trial and error in getting the people. But when you have it, then it is fantastic.
Oh, it's a beautiful mission then, to see the best in each person,
Right.
from a hidden gem. We normally see the hidden gem
Correct.
inside the rice field. Do someone misunderstand your?
Say it again. Sorry.
Okay. I'll ask the question directly. It's easier. What do most people misunderstand about your work?
Wow. This has been something that followed me since I was a little kid because I've been doing this all my life. No girlfriend was able to explain to her parents what the boyfriend do for a living. Like it has been something that is difficult for people to understand. More people is detached from this world now is more understood. But how can be somebody sitting in front of a keyboard produce income? To produce income, you go to the market and sell your product. You go to a construction site, you put bricks and build a house. That's how you make money. Sitting in front of the monitor, which people relate to television, with a keyboard, how can you make money? Why people would appreciate what you're doing, right? And that this has been always something that has been like I gave up trying to explain. Consider further that I've been working a lot with law enforcement, creating software to do investigations and other things, which made it even more weird to see me hanging out with the police at the police station and then sitting there. What are you doing? Are you an informer? Are you something? No, 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 no. I am a computer architect, software architect, and then that's what I do. Yeah, that's been yeah. When I was a kid, even there was a lot of piracy of video games, which was not illegal because there were no regulation and no law that forbid that. And I had a lot of young kids coming to my house and stayed 2 minutes leaving, and I was full of money. And my parents thought I was selling drugs because the mechanics were very similar, right? They would not understand that people would pay for a copy of a floppy disk that I pay little and I sell for a lot. And This is, in fact, actually, I end up working with the law enforcement because of the rumor they were spreading around, and people came to me. But yeah, it's not easy to explain in the details what I do. There is the classic, you're good with the computer. Can you fix my stereo machine, my VCR, my whatever, But yeah, I think this is. Yeah, I think even if somebody go ask my wife today what I do for a work, she will not be able to detail very well. She will say blockchain. He created blockchain, which is not true, but
Okay. Oh, well, I maybe you are also from a time that nerd was not a good word.
I was proud to be one, I guess.
I remember when I started, I have a high IQ, and when I uh, went to school, I was 2 years younger than my
Yeah.
colleagues, and they started asking me, "Are you a nerd?" And I tried to say, "No, I'm not." And my mother was also worried because back that time, being a nerd was not a good thing, especially for a girl.
Actually, in Italy, the word nerd didn't exist. There was the word secchione, which means somebody that is really keening down on the books all the time. Unfortunately, you've been lucky that you had somebody supporting your capability and putting you in a higher class, while I was forced to go through those super boring and oh my god. So to me, school was an enemy. Being a very strong rebel, I did the most incredible disaster. Sometimes outside school, I was claiming that there was a strike and nobody go to school and nobody showed up in class. I really took it personally to fight teacher. While I had very high grades because at the same time mathematics was coming out perfectly, Italian grammar coming out perfectly. I would not know history or geography because I would not study, so those things you cannot guess them. But I was going all right. I wish I had a school that would allow me to go to my own speed, study my own things. Probably I would have had a very completely different outcome. Government school in Italy was bad. That's why I incorporated the first company when I was 14 with the court for minor authorizing this thing. I started working. I'm a dropout from kindergarten, pretty much.
Oh, I'm Brazilian, as you know, it's in my profile. But here, the system is not so good to develop talents, and I had many problems with bullies. The study was not a problem to me. I like history, geography. Contrary to you, I was very good at geography. I like to understand new cultures and meet foreigners and even foreign languages. I speak many many
Oh wow,
languages.
interesting. Okay, I do now. Honestly, I do now. Now I'm all fascinated by history. Geography is a must because traveling around the world, you need to know. At the age, I wouldn't care less. But logic
Mhm.
was just coming out obvious to me. So
Yeah,
bullies
it's
in
obvious.
elementary school, I was coming back home crying every single day. When finally from elementary school I moved to junior high, I managed to reinvent a little bit of my persona with a completely new class, and I became the opposite, the cool kid, the one that make everybody laugh. I was making the teacher laugh as well, so they could not give me a bad grade because I was disturbing the class. In fact, but I was not really focused on studying or whatever. I was focused on my computers, my things, and I just comply with the law wants people to go to school as soon as I could get out of the system. I went.
Me too. I wanted to have a more more creative system. I think we have art class, and nowadays we don't have. They don't have anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I like to have. I like it to study art and music when I
But
was on vacations.
okay, but no, but art should be one of the most important things that people study. I don't think in Italy they will ever remove it because Italy is in the middle of any sort of art from thousands of years ago to today. So I think it's a subject that is quite important for the general culture of a person. Mostly in Venice, we have thousands of like masterpieces. So it's important to know and understand, which is a pity if they're removed from school, because kids need that aspect of understanding the expression that people put into painting. Personally, I draw worse than my 3 years old daughter. I can barely make one house with three sticks and the stickman. That's where it stops. I have a big envy for people that can do these beautiful drawings. But I never applied myself in learning as well, because again, I am on the mathematics side of things. I do love music. I was able to play quite recently, because that's based on mathematics, right? Music is math, so you follow the math of it, and then drawing is a capacity to transfer something from the brain to the paper. To me, is magic, is pure magic. But I code computers. I can do also magic as well.
Absolutely. I think there is room for everyone in this world. And I'm really glad when I see someone developing their talents from childhood, because many people, they start drawing when they are children, or even making music or building stuff. And as they grow up, they they have the demands from family and society. Oh, you must make money with something quickly, and then they abandon their talents to do something that makes money. And
Yeah.
sometimes the things that they are good, they can make much money than just following a regular job.
Yeah, it's true. What you say is true. There is the opportunity that some people have, that probably you had, I had, in a way or another, because I know people that were sleeping on the road and no family and all, but they were pursuing their own call in doing photography, doing whatever. So it's not just because somebody has on the back a wealthy family that allows something to happen, right? But in a way or another, an opportunity is created. Some people don't have the luck to have the opportunity, and which is a very strong pity. That if I was a legislator, somebody creating law in the government, I will make a program to support people that have a call in life. You think you want to be a musician. Okay, man, we need talented musicians. Show me what you can do. If you need, I give you a sort of a salary until you become good enough. Go for that, if you're honest. I think it's important. Is the wealth of a nation is people, right? So good education system, talents, and innovators are the key for a country to become an excellence in the world. Either you import them, like the United States always did, bring them from outside, the talents, or you grow them internally, like many other countries been doing. Try to
Yeah.
keep people down, but just to control them is a very sad. It works in the immediate, in the long term is very bad.
Well, we are talking about the our professional lives. Let's talk about journey and milestones. Your journey in the tech industry has been impressive, as I can see. What have been some of the most significant milestones in your career so far?
Okay, so I think I innovated a lot. As a little kid, I did a lot of interesting things. I think I was 18. Me and the team that I was working with did a video game. So we won like a recognition for this video game based on a comic strip. Something very cool. For the age that we had, we accomplished something interesting. Shortly after, Bill Clinton, which was president of the United States, sent me a thank you email because I helped one of the officers at the White House to stop a scam that was happening in the United States. I think I spent 3 years in the anti-drug unit of the Italian police, working with them. That has been, I think, one of the best experience I had in my life. I would go back there in an instant, having the age though. The, these are being events that came along in my life. I've been a guest in very important talk show in Italy. Oprah Winfrey of the United States, but in Italy the equivalent, which also been quite an interesting aspect for feeling proud of myself when I had no much recognition from family and other things about what I was doing. So those are being interesting aspects that have particularly made me secure of myself in what I do, which is an important thing to be more successful at things. So confirming the fact that yes, I can. In other terms, I think interesting living in different countries, understanding different culture, and working in these different settings also enrich my capability of appreciating human beings in general, and also be appreciated. I had situation where people helped me that they had no reason to do so. Humans have, on one side disgusted me for some stuff, on other side really marveled me because there are some amazing people in the world. So this also push you to do the same, right? So when somebody is super nice with you for nothing in exchange, then you need to balance your karma, right? So you're gonna be super nice with somebody else for nothing in exchange, and in a chain of it is something that professionally and not so, because I mean, like in terms of a profession itself, I've been lucky to be. I've been lecturing at the university in Singapore and thinking that I really have no school titles myself, yet I can lecture at the university because what I have done in my career is, strong enough to prove that I am knowledgeable on something so that I can teach it. It is again, one more time, a way to say, okay, even if I didn't follow the regular path every other people do in life, I can actually achieve a lot anyway. So confirming that there is not only one way to get to a destination, that's an important aspect, I think.
In my case, I'm celebrating this season a very important milestone to this podcast. I'm celebrating 10 years of podcasting.
Wow. Okay, that's commitment. Good job.
I started informally. I didn't intend to be so big. It started really small, a 3-minute episode. I started sharing my poems and I talked with another guest. I recorded in my bathroom some episodes because the acoustic was great.
Fantastic. When people do things without a second end, they end up to be fantastic. And the second end, the collateral arrive anyway, right? But those shouldn't be the reason why people do something. When it's done with the heart, because people really believe what they're doing, is easily a success always. So congratulations on your 10 years of podcast.
Thanks a lot. It's really, I didn't imagine myself creating a podcast and it reaches 30,000 plays around the world. But there are many flags in the list. I get impressed. But it's rewarding and motivating to see many people getting interested in what I have to say. I'm not I always say I'm an uninfluencer because I never influenced people in my family. I heard from some cousins, I don't want to be her. Okay, you don't want to be me. You don't need to.
Sometimes we don't even know the effect that we have on people indirect, right? It's not something that shows immediately. I did mentoring of a lot of developers or even startups as things, and you think about, you share something, you think, you try to explain to them or show them the situation, and you walk away. Then 10 years later, you meet them and say, thank you so much for what you did. You really shape our direction. Or as much as a software developer, meeting people 15 years later and say, we still use your piece of application is amazing. Those are things that say, look, I did something that changed people's lives in a positive way somehow. So I didn't even know. That's beautiful. So there are simple, small things. I don't know why it's coming to my mind, this thing. As a kid, I had a friend at a restaurant, okay? And at the end of the night, when dishwasher, busboy, waiters, everybody was leaving the restaurant, he was saying thank you to each of them one by one. And I was like, why you have to say thank you? You're paying their salaries. Says what? It doesn't cost me anything to say thank you. I'm nice with them, and that's the moment that I really understood that what's the difference, what makes a difference. Some stuff doesn't cost anything, like smiling. I smile always because why not? If I can do it honestly, not pretending, it makes my life better and makes somebody else's life better as well. Sometimes small things make a big difference. Yeah.
Kindness always matters to people. I think we earn much more being kind than trying to be snobbish.
Absolutely.
We have many accomplishments in life, and why do we need to show them and superior to them? I don't think I'm above anyone. I'm at the same level.
But there is some people that do, unfortunately, they think that's important for them to belittle others, and
to me that's pure BS. Well, I didn't ask you about blockchain. you talk a lot. Are there some challenges in the blockchain field, and how have you overcome them?
So blockchain is a technology that has come out to solve the problem for cryptocurrency, right? Decentralized money, and up to be something that is way more powerful than just the use case that has been created for. The problem is that first of all, culturally is associated with something bad. So cryptocurrency are associated with bad dealing, scams, and other things. So sometime the blockchain get dragged into this bad reputation aspect, which is a piece of technology. So you cannot blame the technology; you need to blame the people using it. And second, it takes a very big leap to move from the traditional system of doing things, the one that can be done using blockchain. If you think when internet first came out, emails were very decentralized. So every office had their own mail server. And when you send an email from an office to another, this email goes from this particular office mail server to the other office mail server. Now, emails are all in the hand of 3-4 companies because there is Gmail, there is Outlook. We have centralized the communication in clear because they're not even encrypted of half of the planet. It is crazy. If people realize exactly what is happening, is really something that is not good. So moving back to re-decentralize the way the mechanics work without having to go through third party. But sometimes very silly things. For example, I control the AC in my house with an app in my cell phone. This app in my cell phone calls the company that has this service, and the company that has this service control my AC, which means that not only they can turn it off without me wanting, if they were, wanting prank me, but they know exactly at what time. So they collect a lot of information that can be used for many means to sell me something else, but also to know when I am at home or where I'm not. Like doors they open automatically. A lot of technology is beautiful for how it's working, the effect of it, but if people look how it's working behind the scene, it's scary. As soon as the understanding of this and the understanding of which are the technologies that allow to remove the middleman and just let me to control my AC directly without having to go through somebody else to collect my data, then people start appreciating the application of these technologies, decentralized technology, peer-to-peer network, and so on and so forth, blockchain being one of the instruments to do these things.
I had you talked about email. I had a little problem with my email some years ago. I was doing the check-in in the airport to travel. And someone has stolen my data from Outlook. It was really hard to solve this problem. It took me several months because many of my accounts were linked to this email. And my solution was looking for encrypted emails. I have 5
Proto-mail.
like proto-mail. And then distribute all the accounts through the through the emails.
Like one silly things a lot of people do is using the same password in many different accounts, right? So we should have a very complete different password for each service we use. This is something that Web3 is going to solve as well, because In Web3, when I access a website, I don't put username and password, but I do a cryptographic signature that allow me to log in, which is much more secure and safe because there is no username and password to steal anywhere. So that's something. One of the things that the technology that is around blockchain, which is cryptography, allow to do, and that's other things that we also implement for clients.
Absolutely. I think I learned the lesson from this. From still people stolen my email, and since then I'm really more cautious when creating a new account and sharing some personal data and making the passwords.
There is something I care a lot about, and is to educate people to prevent loved one to fall for online scams. And it's one of the podcasts I do is called Conquest. Con is like the con artist, quest is the challenge of catching them. Because from romance scam to payback scam to there are millions of different kind of scam that people fall for. They lose a lot of money, and they're very bad just because they trust what what they hear. People call them pretending to be the bank, PayPal, but it is not true. And as much as seeing an email, clicking a link in the email, things that we should do because we should be protected by this by default. But those are very easy way to trap people, and then get their money. And so there is people that for years keep paying money to somebody that they think is. And now with artificial intelligence, deep fake, it's easy to receive a call with the voice of your son that says, I'm in trouble, I need some money. So we need to always double verify that it's for real. Just call back the person that called us to make sure it was you calling me or, or not. But there is a huge amount of victims, and victims that are also end up in shame, so they don't even share that they're being victim of a scam. It is a huge issue. Very little the law enforcement can do because it is very international, so they operate from other country where they cannot be extradited from, where it's hard to prosecute somebody. So a very bad aspect of the online world that is worth to protect some more people that easily become a victim. The victim would not listen to these things, but family, if you see somebody that never had a girlfriend suddenly has his girlfriend online, that has family that are sick, something classic like this, so they need to send money to help. Those are classics, so try to make sure that is for real.
There is a movie from I love to watch, and it talks about it. You certainly know The Net with Sandra Bullock. It has 30 years. It's from 1990, but this story is so current. It talks about it. The someone pretending it's you, and it's not. Many of these
Stolen identity.
right.
Yeah, stolen identity is also another bad thing. There is a romance scam, for example. I guide you through what happened because it's interesting to understand. You will meet online somebody that is very charming, fascinating, very wealthy, showing off a very wealthy lifestyle that for some reason says, oh, Facebook is suggesting me you, why like this? And then, this person, they sometimes invest even 2 months to so they become friends with your family, they become friends with your friends, so you think this is a like a lucky moment that somebody ugly like me finally has the attention of a beautiful girl, or vice versa for ladies. And at a certain point say, hey, I made so much money because I have this friend that is a financial advisor. I don't understand, but he made me buy something, whatever. So they connect with, and he's always the same scammer. They change the role, change name and phone number, but he's always the same person, right? Or the same organization. At the point they convince you to create an account in a fake website, but they go through the procedure. So you send your document, your signature, so they already stealing your identity. So they penetrate your social network, they steal your identity, they make pretend that you're making a lot of money, and when you want to withdraw, obviously you don't withdraw anything. There is the excuse to pay more taxes. Then the girl makes a present and send you extra money, and she want them back. and then there is a lawyer that come in, and people end up losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in these things, are ashamed, and this person also start writing to all the family and friends, say, hey, say that this guy give me the money back, I loaned him $50,000, all fake stuff, but the damage are real. So people say, oh my God. And the people end up paying because they're ashamed, and until they drain, the squeeze to the last penny out of somebody, they keep going. And there are more victims of what you can imagine of these sorts of things, because even intelligent people, you just feel they're in need to feel loved for once, so they allow something that cannot be really true to be true, in order to at least feel that they have somebody interested in them, and they lose their mind and they lose their money consequently. And the only people that can do something like an intervention are family and friends, because they will never admit it to themselves. It's like people losing at the casino. They keep putting in money because they want to recover what they lost. They don't admit to themselves that they lost. So it's a very bad things that happen online. And I devote myself a lot in helping out people in this situation, rather than working with enforcement in trying to tracking these scammers, and educating through podcasts people not to fall for these scams.
Oh, that's wonderful. It reminds me a case that happened to me. Let me see. 2 years ago, I was just changing letters. Now I forgot the name of the app. And a French guy started changing letters to me. And in the first week, he said he was so in love to me. And okay, it was good. I'm not a robot. It was good to hear these words. But, well, I told my therapist, I think it was the best thing I did, because she asked me, is he real or not? And I told her, I can see his pictures, and he sends me some videos. And then when we were talking, I was showing my drawings. He started saying, oh, I love anime. And I saw something strange. He started sending me many things inside brackets in the text. And it's strange, this text. And I asked him, okay, what's your favorite manga? I can draw for you. And then he started saying, I like, and a huge list of manga. I like Studio Ghibli. This is not a manga. This is an anime studio. But which one do you like? He couldn't answer me. And then I thought, oh, maybe he's a scammer. I will block.
Yeah, in fact, is interesting. There are people that do what is called scam baiting. So they have a YouTube channel where they interact with this scammer just to waste their time, and how they make fun of them, because they show that there is a lot of money to make, possibly, which is not true. So the scammer is there after the money, so he's accepting whatever they ask them, and they make fun of these people. Some people convert them to become also no more scammer, but help people. But yeah, the trick are many, and people need to pay a lot of attention. So never trust. And nowadays, with artificial intelligence, the fake, don't trust even audio recording. Don't trust even, because like voice can be cloned in a second. Mostly for people that has a public place with their voice in videos online, and as well as the person, like the video can be done somebody talking, like what you see me now, it could be artificial intelligence and not me for real here. You will not be able to say the difference. So don't trust anything unless you double triple check. It's true, mostly they're rushing you, and you need to give money. Those two things are the red flags that that there is something wrong behind it.
And I forgot to say another detail. He's French, but he didn't tell exactly where in France
Right, correct.
he lives. And he was traveling too fast. I'm in the city, I need to travel, I need to travel. And I was stuck, oh, he travels too much.
Yes, yes. So yeah, that's something that people need to pay attention online. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also true that there are a lot of nice things. I think Facebook on its own has so many bad aspects, but it can reconnect you with people that you don't see since long time, or you get lost. People found lost family member after many years. So it's an interesting tool, this network of people. But like every tool can be used for good and for bad. So
Absolutely. Now I'm more careful, I must say, but I had this experience. It's good to share with my listeners. I think it's the first time I'm telling. Well, let's talk about future trends. What future trends in decentralized systems and blockchain technology are you most excited about, and why?
okay, so one thing is interesting is what is called Web3. There is not very clear for people what does it mean. So if you
Mhm.
think the web as it started was this network of a server, so where you can connect to a server or another, right? Then with like HTML, which is a hyperlanguage markup, it means that you are in a website that is talking about trees. You click on the tree and you go in the other website that has more specific about the things. Then you click, you go to another website. So is what is the World Wide Web is that this network of information tools, services that are linked one with the other, where you can surf around. But you as a user are not part of the game, and you're not part of the things. You're just consuming. With Web3, your identity follows you around where you go, which means that in many aspects you can bring your identities with what makes it inside the many different websites. So let's say if I am a male of 50 years of age and my avatar has a green jacket, brown hair, the beard, whatever, in website where I can use and can be present with an avatar is going to match so much that in video games, for example, if you purchase a sword in a game and this sword is very useful, it becomes yours. So you attach to your identity so much that when you go to a compatible other game, your sword is with you. As much as if you get injured in a game, you're going to be injured in the other one. The Web3 is like what Web2 was, but with a constant presence of the identity of the user that moves along. This is interesting in evolution. Like we had this big year where the metaverse was supposed to become the only way to live online, and it being a very big flop in terms of too early, and there are no tools to live it properly. But in the metaverse, the Web3 is essential because if a website is represented as a virtual world, but then I jump from a virtual world to another, say my website is my virtual house, your website is a virtual house. When this guest goes from my house to your house, it must be the same person. It must be identifiable as the same person, both cryptographically and as we see it, right? So the evolution that we have thanks to blockchain and the fact that we can have singularity, unicity, is the fact that we can bring our identity and all the things we collect along with us wherever we go online. So we can. So this is something that I didn't explain it well enough, I think, but is the biggest revolution I think there will be next. Mix it with all the other, new technologies, I think. But you asked me in terms of blockchain and decentralization. I think this is the real application of Web3 is going to be what makes a huge difference. And I explain you game, but it can be also when I go through government websites to do documents authorization, for example, the permit to go fishing, and then I access the area for fishing. My Web3 identity is going to have attached the permission released by the government, which I can show to the people where I log in to book my space to go fishing, or I go to the gym. I need a doctor certificate that says I'm of good health, and the doctor need to be certified by the government as an actual doctor. All these things can be attached to the identity of the different parties. and guarantee the quality of the documentation. So when I go to the gym, I show my certificate. They know for the fact that it's original, is released by an authorized doctor, is dated at such date. It's not something I did for Photoshop or templated at home. So this is the big revolution that is slowly going to be applied. I think private sector first, the government second, but that's the direction we're going. I think there is no other option. That's the direction we're going slowly, but that's the direction we're going.
This is good. I don't know if it enables us more personalized experience, but in my case, I get really disturbed on how I can't access many websites just because of my IP. And I use a VPN for them. But the last time I tried to install VPN, many websites, no, just to they block it. I almost lost the whole podcast because Spotify was blocked. I
Oh my
was
God.
using between two IP addresses, and it took me a few weeks to restore the access.
For people that use Chrome or Chromium website like Brave, there is a possibility to use secure domain name servers, secure DNS. So you don't need a VPN. If the blocking is done SP level, you can use a secure DNS, and so you connect everywhere. I know because in Indonesia, half of the internet is censored. Vimeo, Reddit, channel, obviously, but so many websites that are, and only being in Indonesia, a lot of European websites automatically just block all Indonesia. Too much scammer, too much hackers. So I had an insurance for a vehicle that I had in Italy, and I couldn't renew it because it wouldn't let me access because my IP address is from Indonesia. They recognize the VPN because they don't want to be scammed. So any VPN I tried was not good. They were blocking me, and I called them, says, guys, they had no idea that they were blocking me. Said, well, you have clients that live outside Italy and need to access your service. You cannot block everybody. Funny enough, as the websites are designed, something that really green my gears is when I see website with the language change, written in the language the website is in. So I'm in Hong Kong, I open a website, it's all in Chinese, and the function to change language in English is written in Chinese. How would I know that this is the one to change to English? I should write it in English, right? But yet, sometimes people that do things don't think about what are the possibilities, But yeah, sure enough.
Well, if it solves this problem, this Web3 system, I'll be the first one to use because it's really disturbing, especially for me because I like to learn in new languages, as I told you, and I like to read and consume content in other languages. And in my case, they are starting some censorship in Brazil. I need to be cautious. So I use a Brave browser already, and I'll try to
Yeah,
add
now
a
yeah.
layer.
Elon Musk just came here to Bali a few days ago. I invited him to my home, but he didn't actually answer my message. I wonder why. But he launched Starlink. So I ordered Starlink, and Starlink is going to be something else because it doesn't go through the local ISP. It goes straight from home to the satellite. And then as soon as everybody's connected to Starlink, we just avoid all the censorship and all the things that are in the various ISP or bottleneck of the internet, unless is applied by Starlink themselves. Sorry. I catch the bug a few days ago. My family being all sick and they are coming out. I was safe. I thought I didn't catch it, but I've been condemned. I have a running nose.
Okay. Oh, I'm with an allergy because the weather changed yesterday while recording the episode. I was speaking strangely. I need to explain the other guest, but he understood me. It's all that matters.
Yeah, it's okay. All right.
Well, and the last question before the lightning round. What advice would you give to young innovators and entrepreneurs who are interested in entering the field of emerging technologies?
Wow. Okay, so I think that the hardest road is the one that involve hardware. I did the startup with hardware, and between the patents and the things is insane. So either go open source for the hardware, like disrupting technologies. There is a lot of need of hardware. For what concerns just software, there is a lot to do, but there is also the easy aspect of being copied. So whenever somebody has the good idea that is tested, that is being valued as a good idea, not just because I think it's good, but because I ask 100 people if they think it's good, then implement the minimum MVP, what is called minimum valued product. So in order to have the basic things working and put a lot of money in marketing. So if you create a community, you create a group that supports you, then it's good. You can have the best idea. If nobody knows about it, you're gonna disappear with it as well. Sometimes it's better to just have a large community and maybe solve a problem that belong to a niche. There is something that works a lot. So if you promote something to a niche that can be huge, it doesn't matter. But let's say I created this incredible mobile app for painters that help them evaluate the combination of color, just taking a picture of what I'm painting and just saying something random comes out to my brain. But probably it's easy to target through magazine for painters, through shops that sell things for artists. So you have a way to communicate with your ideal audience that goes straight to them. More something is generalistic, more money you need to be noticed, or you need to use a very good influencer of the other kind that we were talking before. For example, one startup that I am helping out, that I'm part of actually, because I'm a 1/5 shareholder, we use YouTubers. We work in a niche, is a particular product for particular kind of people. And YouTubers that talks about this subject, this topic, if they like what we do, they present it. And this is the things that work the most, is the return of investment with the highest result. Second is advertising in Facebook and targeting the correct people. But if you don't sell, if you don't have community, you can have the best idea ever. Pay attention also to all the cycle of the startups. The cycle of the startup is built to make money for investors, it's not built to support the people that has the startup. So sometimes they eat you alive. They just use you to do the round, extract the money, and they drop you. So yeah, I don't like the way the startup cycle is built. So if you can fund your own business by the income of the business itself and not getting money from outside, that's the top. Usually that's what I did for every business that I've done.
I completely agree with you. I made some entrepreneurship courses, online courses about startups and so on. Yeah, I also don't like how is their idea to start business. The language is so technical. And as you said, we need to solve a problem. And how to find the problem we need to solve. Me, with my art studio, I really get disturbed by sustainability. We don't recycle stuff. And I always try to show alternatives that are beautiful, artistically valuable, but with a smaller impact on the environment. I always try to bring some alternatives. I'm creating some online courses in this field to teach people how to draw or make art using recycled materials.
Nice. Yeah, see, everything there's a story behind, there's a motivation behind, is more appealing, mostly
Okay.
for people that are gonna use it, follow it, or support it. I want to support when I saw there is a story behind it, don't support the concept, right? So that's very important, I think. Yes.
So, all right, it's the time of our lightning round. Is the last one of the episodes, but the show is not ending yet. I'll ask you a series of quick questions. You can answer with a short, long answer. What's your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
I'm just coming out from it. Has been continuing to invest on something that was not delivered when it was supposed to be delivered. It really brought me to burning all my savings. So I had a project, I had a budget, I had a team, and then I've been lied on the situation. Everything seems to be just finished, but just a little bit more. So one more month, one more month, one more month, one more month, and every month was $150,000. At the end of the many months, so about 9 months, until I said I cannot go ahead anymore. Trusting people and thinking that people has the same goal that you have, and not more practical, selfish goals of just getting paid one more month, a beautiful salary without doing much of a job. So that has been my biggest failure and hard to recover from. Letting go of anger and the past is not easy. I really spent months, if not years, thinking about a particular person or another and being so upset with them while they just living their happy life. So taking this big breath and moving on is an important thing, which is not always so easy to do. Yeah, that's and it's very recent. I don't know. If I look at all my history in working failures, been some past marriage, and I married several times. I have 4 kids. The oldest is living in Italy with his girlfriend, and the other 3 are living with me. But for example, the mother of my number 2 and number 3, she left and left the kids with me. So I've been a single father for about 5 years. The running large business, traveling the world for conference with these 2 kids that were not allowed inside the conference. Well, it's disaster, I promise. And I couldn't find the nannies around. I started using Tinder to find nannies because I said, "Look, I'm not interested in a relationship. You want a job?" Has been something else. I'm blessed. My wife now is one of the best people in the planet. I mean, I think I am an atheist. It's funny because I was born in Italy, where at the time you are Catholic by default. I was 3 months old when they gave me the membership to the church, to the Catholic Church. I had no voice in saying no, thank you. Now in Indonesia, it's illegal to marry if you're two different religion, because can you imagine the small village will raise wars between families? So I had to convert. So now I'm legally Hindu. Okay. Before I didn't believe in one God. Now I don't believe in many gods. And anyway, yeah, I don't know why I end up in these things. But we're talking about failures in life and marriage failures. Yes, current wife is amazing person. We have this little one baby. She's 3 years old. She's gonna be 4 in October. Life is beautiful. Number 2 and number 3, which is a boy and a girl. They are 16 and 14 now. Also live with us, and we are a very happy family. But my past in terms of relationship and in business, business partners relationship, so much that I start thinking maybe it's me, because it cannot be every time I have the same outcome. But go on, that probably is not easy. I think it's easier to find somebody to marry than find somebody to run a business with, because business partner is a difficult thing. The correct amount of business partner is one only. You can fire an employee, you cannot fire a business partner. So it is, I think, difficult to find the right person. Some people do business with family. Then if business goes tension in the family is not good. So yeah, start a business on your own and maybe confront yourself with others, but at least to be the ultimate one person that has to suffer and has to enjoy the outcome of the business. And don't trust anybody unless you verify things with your own hands, because that's what caused me trouble, trusting the wrong people.
I completely understand what you say in entrepreneurship. I'm not married.
Never, it's never too late.
But, well, business partner to me is something even more important than a husband.
Yeah.
I'm still a solopreneur, and I think about bringing one person to my business, and it's a really hard decision, but I'm analyzing options.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
That's something that I learned as well, because many things in life I learn. It's beautiful, like the English language. I didn't study in school. I studied French, and I learned English just by traveling, by reading computer manuals in English without understanding what they were saying. So many times there are words that have an history behind. As much as life lesson, a lot of interesting things have a back history that I look at and I say, like I learned this thing because something that happened to me, and then I look at how these things came along. And I think it's the best way to learn stuff by living it, by experiencing it, like rather than just reading it in a book, or not. But yeah, I was thinking how I got here. But yes, for sure. Choosing a business partner. Yes, that's what I wanted to tell you. Something that I learned. A friend is a photographer, right? Very successful photographer, made millions by selling his pictures. I mean, telling you like top level photographer, okay? And he opened a photography studio. And the things that happen to many people is you become a manager and no more a photographer, right? So you need to hire your own boss, which is strange. But if I'm good to do illustration, I can now start managing the client, start managing the invoices, start managing the payment, all the accounting, etc., etc. I need to hire somebody that direct me. Think of painters that have their own. In fact, the best combination is husband and wife. The husband is the painter, the wife is the cold agent that deal with the galleries. Doesn't allow people to pay one penny less because the artist will never be able to do this. So if your talent is on something and you want to transform this talent in a business, don't drop the talent that you have just to become the manager of the business, but hire somebody to manage the business. He's going to be your boss, but your employee at the same time. And then you're going to be successful because you keep doing what you're good to do without the worries of all the other collateral things that you don't want to deal with. Voicing client, outreach, marketing, and all this crap that is outside the scope of so this is a very beautiful lesson that I learned by this guy. This is opening the studio, hiring management. They're gonna manage me, but they are their own employees. Like it sounds strange, but it's a very successful mechanics for monetizing a talent that somebody has.
I understand. There is something I hate to do and I need to do every day is posting my work on social media.
There you go.
What to write, what to post. I do hate to go to social networks every day and post. And if I need to hire someone in a smaller task, it will be certainly a social media manager.
Correct. There you go. That is exactly what I'm saying. Like,
it's important.
do what you are good to do because that's the value of your time, and then put somebody that is cheaper to do the things that you don't want to do. It's as simple as it is. That's the best. And somebody you can trust, and you need to check very well that they're doing the proper job. They don't run away with the password of things. But unfortunately, we learn by bad experiences in life. I saw the most terrible things done by people. But
next one, who are the most influential people in your life?
all right. Well, my father was an amazing example. I look up to. He managed. He started as a secretary and built up until be the CEO of a large group of companies. So he really did his career by merit. And he allowed me when I was like 15, 16 to stay in the office with him, see how he was dealing business with the people from different countries. And that's been an opportunity for me to see. I could intervene and talk in the conversation as well. And if I think about it now, at the time, I thought it was just cool. I think about it's brave of my father to expose me to this, because it's really something that made me see from the inside how grown up do the business. So he's been an inspiration to me. He unfortunately passed away when I was 20 something, so I didn't have much time in my life to spend with him, but enough to have a good set of memories. And more recently, I will say I am so fascinated by Elon Musk. How he can follow so many different business, all are successful. So he has the capacity to delegate things properly, but he also is in the center of the decision making in each of these business. No easy. He said that people want, I would love to be used as, I don't think it's not really fun to be me, because I mean, beside he has a little bit of spare change, but he can buy a new car. He has the money to do that if he wants, but his life must be really heavy in terms of decision making and no responsibilities and things. But I think he's an amazing model for a lot of people to follow. And it's interesting how there is a huge chunk of the world that hates him out of nothing. I think just envious people rather than people that don't accept that somebody can be successful and they have not been successful. Younger it is somebody, that's something that killed me. When I was 20 years old and I see somebody that is 35 that is very successful, I say, haha, he's older. Then I become 35 or 40 and I see somebody 35 and 20 that are successful. Like, damn, I should have been me that one. Why, we don't we end up comparing ourselves where the negativity is there, right? Like somebody is better than me. Nobody says I'm inspired by the biggest losers I see around the street, like by a beggar or by. But indeed, I think I love the way that Elon Musk work. Somehow, I love the way that Steve Jobs has presented product to sell them. No, his personality, because comes out he wasn't the nicest person. How he can transform the desire of people to own something, not because of the technology, but because of the lifestyle that he represents. I think has been in terms of marketing a genius. So there is a lot of things to see, and a few of the best TEDx or TED speakers. There are some that are amazing, and I had so many insight. Now I'm not gonna list all the names, but there are some very good. These technology entertainment design is a conference where people speaks in an entertaining way about different topics, and they have some very precious content there. So that's one other source of inspiration to me.
That's great. Some episodes ago, I talked with future TEDx speaker, but he will talk in the political field. Is not a technology, but he's a very interesting person because he lived in many countries just like you.
Yeah,
He's Pakistani and now he lives in the Netherlands. So
there you go.
he has a great.
It is for sure a selection of good people. If somebody has now something interesting to say, they will not end up in TED. So that's a good selection point.
And the next question, I don't know if you like reading, but one book that has influenced your thinking the most.
The Never Ending Story by Michel Hende, which they made also the movie. Read when I was 10 years old, I think. Oh my God, the book really blew me away at the time, and really gave me a perspective on life, how you can rebuild everything from a single grain of sand, like the for sure that has been one beautiful story. The Book of the Jungle is also something that has been a lot of meaning for me because I've been through the Boy Scout, and there was, like one story with Mowgli and all this life with animals that is interesting. And those are from the past. If I think a book from when I was a child. Recently, honestly, I didn't find anything amazing. I'm more reading technical stuff rather than more, like these, books that are about cryptography and other things. So it's hard to say that something is, like leaving an imprint on life-changing aspects. I think the phone book is a nice book. It's a lot of people inside. I know much of a story. I've been like a co-author of two books, three books on technology. In nothing very fascinating on the point of narrative, but more technical. I think books. If I think books, nothing comes particular to mind. I should devote myself. I listen to audiobooks a lot, but again, same thing is nothing. Even the few story I listen because Eat, Pray, and Love is a book that they made a movie with Julia Roberts. Funny because the Eat is in Italy. I'm Italian, so I can follow that. The Pray is in an ashram in India, and the Love is in Bali, not only in Bali, but in the same city where I live. The lady was here living. She was writing the book. She was, like 12 kilometers from where I live. Yes, that's I think one of the particular book, but not something that no, I would suggest to somebody. It's just a book that is not technical that went through my hand recently.
Okay. Oh, the Jungle Book. It reminds me the Disney cartoon movie.
They
I
made they
love
made
this
an
movie.
animation recently. The Disney cartoon was fantastic because it was Disney. But they made an actually a movie. I think
Yes,
is
there is
or
a
something
also.
recently was on Netflix, which was quite beautiful. But the book is like many things. The book is like Lord of the Rings and those things as well. The Hobbit. Those are books that are beautiful that I read. All the book from what's the name? The guy that has all these police things at the Vatican. Oh my God, I forgot the name of the author. I'm very bad, man. But interesting, but nothing that will say, oh my God. Okay, there we go. And this is from Brazil, actually. The best book that everybody should read that can change your life is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Oh, okay.
And a few of his books are very good, but The Alchemist is fantastic. That's
Oh,
okay. That's a book worth suggesting to people. If people didn't read The Alchemist of Paulo Coelho, go read it because it talks about you. It's incredible. You can read the book in one day, the book, or in a
oh,
year, phrase by phrase, because each phrase you can dig into the meaning. It's very interesting. Okay, so this is my selected answer for you. The
okay.
Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
This book is very polemical. It divides opinions here. Some people love, some people hate.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
okay.
never read before, so
Oh no,
I give a chance.
absolutely, you must. I don't see how people should hate it. It's actually the story of everybody's lives. Is really my brother is a psychiatrist, and sometimes he gives his patient this book as a therapy. It's so powerful that really is an interesting book.
Okay, the next question. If you could have dinner with any tech pioneer, who would it be?
Try to guess. Elon Musk, it will be my number one choice. If I can resurrect that people, Nikola Tesla will be my second choice. He would remain the second choice, even if he was alive together with Elon Musk. I want to pick the brain of Elon Musk. I love that Elon Musk exposed himself to many different interviews and how he's really sincere and open. So there is a lot of possibility to see how he thinks just by looking online. Not much about Nikola Tesla, though, which is another. I would love to talk with Alan Turing, for example, the guy that decrypted the Enigma machine of the Germans during World War II.
It was
A lot of other important technologists I met in person. I had half an hour conversation with Steve Jobs. I met people in the blockchain field, almost everybody, because the Day Zero was there. I met a lot of other interesting people. So, yeah, Steve Jobs has been fascinating because we really discussed technology when I met him. He wasn't an Apple. When I met him, he was being fired from Apple. So he started another company called Next. And it was the place in an expo, Comdexco in the United States. So he was showing his computer, so we started discussing how the monitor connect to the computer. We had like a very long, interesting discussion.
To me, he is an example for marketing and
Yeah, well,
minimalistic design. I'm not a user of Apple products, but I like the concepts behind Apple
nice.
products.
It's
It's really
fantastic. I think it's the number one company in creating hardware, and also the operating system are beautiful. Think you take an iPad, you give it to a 1 years old kid, it can operate it without nobody explaining anything. It's so well done that is working with humans so well. So I appreciate this thing. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, the next question is the second to last. Your go-to productivity hack.
The productivity hack for me is night. When everybody sleeps, I can do a lot of work. Best code written, best architecture design, best consulting documentation written from midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. sometime till 6 in the morning. Oh my God, the best. Nobody comes here, nobody disturbs me. I know that I am on my own. I can do a lot. Red Bull was a very good enabler in the past. I stopped drinking it because it's not healthy, but it boosted the brain capacity. I never use any medicine to become smarter, even though a lot of people in this field takes drugs, legal drugs. I mean, no drugs.
For ADHD.
Yeah, there are a lot of drugs that enable the brain, but I prefer not to fall dependent of those things. So I don't.
You do a great choice. And yeah, I'm also a night owl. I say my head, it doesn't work in the earliest hours of the day, but after the sun, after
I think
sunset.
so after sunset we are vampires. I,
Yes.
I think that there is like if there is a frequency, like every brain produce waves, and during the day the frequency are all occupied by all these people that is awake. When they go to sleep, I have all free for my brain to expand and work very well. So that's my visualization of why night is better.
Oh yeah. Well, we are vampires. And the last question. What's one piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self, with the knowledge that I have now, besides buy and hold Bitcoin a lot, but I would just say to pay attention, not to trust people too much. It's been one of my biggest weaknesses in my life, and what caused me a lot of problem as well. Trusting people, believing that people wants the common good and not their own interest at the damage of others. So beware of people that is friendly because they're faking it. Understand what a sociopath is. Understand what some people is able to do. Yeah.
That's great advice. Well, today we explored many things. We started telling a little bit of yourself, decentralized system, blockchain technology, but we went to internet safety, and I think it was really useful. Especially to me
Yeah.
and my listeners too. And the last and bonus question is DKLA's doors are always open to you. Would you come back one day if you could?
I will be honored to. I would love to. It's been a very beautiful conversation, and I will be happy to come back. Possibly without the running nose that makes my voice strange and hard to breathe.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you on DKLA. And I wish you the best with your projects, with your family, and with your running nose.
And likewise, it's been an honor to be here. Thank you for having me in your show.
Bye for now. Thank you for listening to DKLA Pirate Radio. Deinfluence You gave us a closer look at online life through the lens of Roberto, a tech visionary with years of experience in IT and emerging technologies. His insights on internet security and the importance of decentralized systems are both eye-opening and empowering. Roberto, thank you for sharing your knowledge and helping us rethink how we approach the digital world. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. For more on Roberto's work and tips on navigating the online landscape, check out the links in the show notes. Stay safe online, and we'll see you next time on DKLA Pirate Radio. Nakemi.
Welcome to Den Kungelige Anarchy, the one-legged nation